Hey, thanks for tuning in to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. On today's episode, we have the privilege of being joined by Bongani Baloyi. And we speak to him about what it looks like to be a creative entrepreneur who, before he got married, had to convince his then girlfriend, who's now his wife, about this dream that he wants to actualize, this business he wants to build, and this life that he wants for them. How does she trust him, considering how the creative industry is an industry that's uncertain? Not only that, we speak about his decisive wisdom that he exercised while they were still in their dating phase, something that's lacking right now in the dating culture, where he invited his friends and his family to really put heavy scrutiny on them so that they can have a flourishing and healthy marriage and future. Lastly, we speak about what it looks like to be this side then of hustling. What does it mean for them to have achieved their dreams? What does it mean for them to celebrate? What does it mean for them to be reflective and look back where God has brought them from? And how do they celebrate all of that right now? It's all happening on today's episode. Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. Here we are husbands who aren't where we want to be, but certainly are not where we used to be. We are imperfect, always failing forward, trying to know better so that we can do better. Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. This is where husbands try to know better so that we can do better. Before we get into this episode, we want to thank everybody who's been supporting us by buying us coffee. If you're wondering what that's about, there's a link in our comment section. You can click on that, buy us as many coffees as you want so that we are energized to keep on making this content. And if you want to continue supporting us, you can book me to be an MC for your next event. And that's at booking@blacknewborn.com. That's booking@blacknewborn.com. The husband that's sitting across the table from me today is Bongani.
How are you?
How are you doing, sir? You good?
I'm good. And you?
Good, man. You know you can't rob people, bro.
No, I have to do my intro.
You have to do your intro. Come on, bro.
Do my intro.
Please.
Listen, okay, into the camera now.
Yes. Should I count you in?
Count me in.
3, 2, 1.
Yo, guys, my name is Bongani, the proud South African guy, a risk taker, a believer of a successful nation, a dreamer by night and achiever by day, and that's all. Period. Shout out.
That's dope, bro. That's dope, man. Like that thing is amazing, man. It's funny how on Quickfire you always catch your guests off, man.
Yo,
oh, God.
Bro.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, but guys, I know you.
Yeah.
How come you don't know this? But yeah, that's
cool,
amazing.
man.
That's amazing. But
thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited, bro.
Whoa, like this is the first time being called as a husband.
Yeah.
I feel like I've made it in life. I feel like, a husband.
Yeah.
Let's go into it, hey?
Come on, dog. Come on. What does your wife think?
Yay.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, young cookie, man.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's us. It's us. We've always done this. So why is it a little bit tricky now? It's
Come
like,
on, man.
Husband.
Yes.
Let's get a nice ring to it.
Man, we're going to get into a whole lot of that stuff, bro.
Cool.
We are compiling this resource, trying to give a book away for free to young guys who are struggling to get married because they haven't seen any good role models. They don't have a good perception of what marriage is. Or husbands who are walking alone, who don't have the benefit of brotherhood and other husbands that they can, do life with. And so we want to say to them, man, there's husbands who have gone before us, husbands who are, failing forward. They're not superheroes at all. Yeah. They're trying hard. They're taking the responsibility of being a husband seriously, and they really, really just showing up, man, as best as they can,
True.
So how do we get those husbands' names in this book and their stories? Well, we ask our guests to give us 2 names. 2 names of husbands who either inspired you to get married or who inspire you to stay married now. Yeah.
Flip. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow, that's a tricky question.
Sure.
I know my pastor, Colin Maluleka.
Sure.
He's such a good person, and he's such a young guy who's literally living the best time, and he doesn't make marriage as if like it's a a far-fetched thing.
Sure.
He makes you wanna love marriage, and the way he's like very appreciative of the wife, he makes you wanna say, "Listen, also when I get married." That's number one. Number two. Let's see who's number two, guys. I'm the first one amongst my friends to get married.
You serious?
Yeah. I think I always knew I wanted that than anything. And who's the second person? I think my friend Tuso. Like yeah, man. Like he's a cool gent, man. He's got a little baby now, He's doing this young family thing. And I'm forever there by the house, like enjoying the little comfort of the baby. I don't have a baby as yet. And they have a baby, and I'm like, listen.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
And I also feel this. So it's quite a cool one. Yeah. Those are the two people.
Sure.
So easy.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Particularly those two guys, just any stories you have or moments that you'd be keen to share where you're like, man, when I saw Mr. Maluleke love his wife in this way, what was happening then, even with Tuso?
So I think when it comes to Colin, Pastor Colin, guys, excuse me for my protocol. So Pastor Colin, I think the first time when we spoke and he was inviting me to the church, this was after Easter, and then I was looking for a new church. And then he was like, listen, man, I've seen you at my church a couple of times. Give me positive feedback. Not positive feedback. Give me feedback. What did you think about the service? How can we improve? Where can we improve? And I was like, wow. I've never seen someone ask for feedback in terms of such. And it's very like crucial, and that's what most of the time husbands miss out on. You don't ask on how am I doing as a husband. You always like think that you're the best husband. You never know exactly when you're lacking, because sometimes we just think that marriage is just about the two of us. But else sometimes, when you become that dominant person and you're the leader of the pack, you don't see the wrongs that you're doing. So when he did that, I was like, this guy is onto something. And we met up. When we met up, he was like, I'm bringing my wife. Bring your wife too. I was like, what? Okay. Double date situation. Come on now. Yeah, one double date situation with Pastor Colin. And I was like, listen, that's a cool like experience for me to sit down and talk about church and talk about what would you want in a church, because sometimes you fall into the trap of wanting to commit to a church and not exactly learning the word. Because sometimes when you're a very like resourceful person, when you're a creative in general at church, you tend to become an asset more and you don't gain a lot. So for me at that time, I was looking to gain, and he was like, I'm all for that. And I just wanted to understand where your head is at, so that he gets to hear me out. What exactly do I want to do in church? What exactly would I be helping on? Because at the same time, you have to serve a church, but also you have to be served as well, So there's two ways into it, and you have to learn how to maneuver with leadership in your marriage. So what I picked up from there is that he dragged my wife in it, and he dragged his wife in it. I remember even the wife like, why specifically we have to meet Bongani? He's like, what's so special about him? Why do we have to? Because they were at the conference. They drove all the way from House of Treasures to come meet me in Senton. Wow. And I was like, listen, I really appreciate that. And it showed so much effort to say sometimes as a husband, when you're a leader, sometimes you've got a vision, but also at the same time, you need to communicate that let's go. You'll see when you get there, you'll see exactly what we're looking for, and you'll get an asset out of it. So it was one of those things that I was like, okay, as a husband, I need to include my wife more into these things, because I never thought about it. I'm always, sometimes when you're in social media, I always treat it like, oh no, it's a separate thing from marriage. And where else, that's where I learned the big thing from them. Like, listen, I need to start taking this as a unit all together. There's no choosing whether my husband here or there. Like, whatever that you do, include the person and then hear their opinion. And then from there, I was like, this is what I needed to learn from this person. So yeah,
that's dope, bro. That's dope, man. And Tuso,
that one is a funny guy. Yeah. So, and the thing is, Tuso is married to Whitney, ne?
Yeah.
So they're both my friends, and then they met because of me.
Sure.
And I hosted a movie night. And I was so blind at that time to see that they were actually like cooking something between them. And I was like, guys, I didn't see any of this thing coming together. So when the whole thing happened, I was like, okay, there's a union coming all together here. I was so impressed with them. And one thing about Thuso is that he brings out the best in the wife. So he's always going to try and encourage the wife. Whatever that they do, it's always going to be like, you have to make sure that you're not only growing as a person, grow your wife as well. And that's one thing I picked up from him, that I need to also make sure that I don't grow alone, whether I'm doing social media, whatever that I'm doing. Well, if I'm reading, if we pray, we can't do the whole thing of just pray alone and you'll be fine. Drag your wife into it, pray together. So if the other party is struggling, because you never know what it looks like internally. Sometimes the thing about wives is that they don't know how to explain things. So they want to take everything all together until they get to a point where you're like, okay, they now want to explain. But for us as guys, it's easy to, like, you gather your thoughts, 2 seconds, and you explain and you move on. For them, they want the time to do that. So that's what I learned from him, to say, listen, I need to also grow with my wife. I can't just be in a process of just growing. And this is not initially the stuff internally. It's like external stuff as well. Going to gym, like, do you encourage your partner to go to gym? And how does that look like? Are you offensive? Are you supportive? So it's those small details that I learned from him. I was like, dope, listen, I need to grow with my wife. And that's why I look up to those two people. It's
great, bro. Thanks for that, man. Shout outs to those guys.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. Hopefully one day we'll get them in the seat that you're sitting in.
For sure.
So that they can unpack their story as well, man, and encourage more husbands,
Most definitely.
Did you get married before Thuso?
No, I was the first one, remember? I'm the first one, so I got married first before Thuso.
Is he the dude who proposed in Thailand?
Yeah. Okay. That's the dude. So when we went to Thailand,
I see.
So we were the one planning the trip to say, I remember they even wanted to cancel. Yeah. And I was like, no, you can't cancel. We have to go to Thailand. And then, Whitney was like, guys, no, Thailand is not for me. I was like it or not, we're going to Thailand.
Thailand is for you, gang.
Thailand is for you. Yeah, because everything was planned out. Like, it's been months planning that thing. And then she was like, on the last minute, guys, I'm not paying for Thailand. And we're like, guys, let's sort it out quickly. We sorted it out. Yeah.
Great, bro. Man.
Most definitely.
Yeah, no, appreciate that, brother. Probably get into your story a bit. So you kind of what don't you do, man?
I'll tell you, there's 2 things I can't do. There's 2 things. And if I could do those 2 things, guys, 1, I can't sing. 2, I can't dance. Yo, guys, there are 2 things that I know that I can't do. If I could sing, bro, like
sing and dance.
At church sometimes I'm shouting. I'm like, thank God I'm not on the mic.
Come on, the Bible says you must make joyful noise.
Yeah, joyful noise, but also God likes order. God likes to, everything must go into order. You can't be singing off key and thinking everything is going to be okay. So, that's one thing. 2 things I can't do.
Man.
Yeah.
But you pretty much an overall creative.
Yeah, I'm overall creative, just like you.
Yeah.
What can't you do? What can't you do?
There's a lot of things, bro.
There's no way.
More than 2.
There's no way. The fact that you're an MC, the fact that you're so well spoken.
Sure.
If I had that in me,
never, bro.
I'm sure from your side, your biggest struggle is, which MC gig am I taking this weekend? I think this one, it's not godly. I'm gonna go for that one.
Q email address
for bookings below. Come on now. Shout out to what you do. You do it
thanks,
like you kill it.
Thanks, man.
Super. And the production stuff, hey.
Yeah.
Look at this. The quality.
Thanks, man.
Okay, Baba. Okay.
How did you navigate your wife through all of this stuff? You guys are together now for what, 8 years?
8 years
in total.
Yo, you did your research, bro.
Yeah.
Wow, amazed.
How did you navigate
Yeah.
And bring her in this crazy journey called your creative life.
Yeah. So it's quite a cool journey
Yeah.
because at the same time, we started dating in 2016.
Yeah.
And same time, 2016 was a year I started my company,
Sure.
Gigabytes Production.
Sure.
And it happened that at that time, we were still new, fairly new, in production. So she was the perfect helper at that time to help in production. So it was something that was like, oh, okay. As much as she was like, we were on a dating phase, I saw something else in her because she was always helpful, especially when it comes to the church stuff. You know, the girl is always cleaning your church. Yeah. Whenever you need help, she's always there. If you say this, she's always there. Sure. And then I was like, hey, yeah, no, this is the person that I really would need right now. Yeah. And when I prayed to God, I prayed like I was specific. Yo, I remember that year, 2016, around March, I was like, God, I need this wife. Yeah. She must know how to cook. Sure. She must be beautiful. And she must be supportive. And she must be fun, not boring. Yo, because I was like, you know what? That's what I need. That's the type of wife I need. And I was like, God, you know what? Everything, but just that one. Yes. Make sure Cooking, that you give fun, me that. And
beautiful.
And the most important of all, church girl. Like she must love God with her whole heart. Sure. And that's one thing that I needed, because one thing for sure, I can't tolerate someone who's not who doesn't love Christ. Sure. In general, like whatever that you do for me, that was a 10 off. So when I prayed and then that happened and then she came through. And then the creative space, hey, I was freaking the creative space, especially when you're still starting out. Because I was still in taxofem at that time, still studying financial science, doing all these crazy things. And then she was always there for me. Sure. And one thing that I always say and appreciate is that I've gotten so many things wrong in my pathway, but with her, everything was so right. It was so perfect. Like whatever I needed a shoulder to cry on, she was always there. So the creative space is not predictable. It's one thing that there's always ups and downs. Sometimes you go and then you are in your peak. Sometimes you are super low. No one cares about you. Sure. But she was always there. And the nice thing about it is that when we started getting into it, right? Our families were sort of like involved as well. Sure. And we were like, listen, guys, like whatever happens, please allow us to get married at the end. If we're not going to that route, remind us why we're doing it. And that was like something that we really needed. And when we even sat down, she was like, let's set goals. Sure. I remember very well. On 28th October, guys, my parents, Askis, if you're watching this, 28th October. And
what year was this?
This is 2016. Okay. So we started dating in June 2016. 7th. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
That's an important date. Yo, that's 2016,
2016,
2020, 2021.
Yeah, everything.
7th June. Come on, bro.
The number of perfection.
Yeah.
So now, when we sat down in October, I think it was the 28th October at church, and we sat down and we like, let's do our vows, right? Let's do our vows so that we know we're doing this with Christ involved, right? And we're going to set ourselves time to say in 5 years, we need to get married. Sure. We need to make sure whatever happens, whether we have money or not. Yeah. If not, pastor is there, home affairs is there. Sure. We'll do it. We'll make it work. And then we sat down and then we set our goals and we like, listen, if I'm going to become a creative, what's your standpoint? Like she also voiced out, like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is where I'm going with my life. We need to be able to support each other all the way. Yeah. So every single point of my creativity journey, she's always been there to remind me, why am I doing it? Wow. And it's a path that I chose. She's always reminding me that you didn't just wake up and say, I want to be a creative. You chose it, right? And she's always reminding me, like, if you said when we met, one of the biggest things is that we needed to have faith. Yeah. Because now you're putting faith to say 5 years, but if God says the otherwise, but also at the same time, the power of prayer. And then if something that you're meditating upon, it shall come to, to life. So every time, whether we're going through difficult times, there's those months where all the invoices are not paid.
They're there.
10 of them. Yeah. You'll be rich. You'll be very rich. But your money is not with you. And she's always saying, babe, don't stress. Remind yourself that what you said that you were going to this. Let's pray about it. And I'm like, oh, it's so difficult to pray. I'm like, you can't tell me. Let's go through this thing. Let's pray about it. Like everything shall come to place.
Sure.
So ever since I've been into this creative space, I've never looked back.
Oh, it's great,
and she's
bro.
been there, my supporter.
There's a date you guys went on somewhere in the north of Pretoria, and you got into an Uber and you got lost. There's a statement you made, which speaks to.
I respect you. Wow.
Speaks to the. I think the conversation you had about being a creative and what that path would look like.
Yeah.
Because when you got lost,
yeah,
you said to her, "Hey man, I'm glad I got lost with you. Imagine if I got lost with a slay queen."
Ooh.
Right? and as a creative, I was like, man, I get what you're saying. Because here's a date.
Yeah.
That means something. I mean, you also did the, how do you have a date that looks expensive?
Yeah. On a very budget friendly.
budget friendly, right? So and as a creative you're starting your own business. You know things as you've eloquently described. They're gonna be up and down.
Exactly.
So how important was it for you guys to speak about not wanting Brazilian weaves at that time, so that you can build, right?
Yeah, damn. I should go back to that video and show her. Sure. Like, listen, remember. Yo. I think at that time, I remember very well, I love to do research more than anything. And one of the biggest factor for me at that time, I discovered that the biggest thing that breaks marriages is finances. Yeah. So people don't know how to discuss that. Yeah. And I was like, yo, baby, let's be honest here. What I want from you is I want to build. And that's the thing for me. I needed to build that from a young age, knowing very well. So my parents are divorced as well. Sure. So I learned through that. I'm like, I don't want to learn through the hard way as well. Sure. I want to learn through experience to say, listen, one of the biggest factors is not love. People can still love each other, but put money on the table. And it's very important. Even the Bible quotes that the love of money, it's a root of evil. Yeah. Not just money, the love of money. Of it, Like we've got this thing of loving money so much that we idolize it, right? But then we tend to miss the moments towards building towards success, right? And one thing I was like, you know what? Understand where we're coming from. Sure. I'm an adventure freak. And at the same time, but I want to do this with you. I want to make sure that I want to grow this thing with you. If we have to gather money, save up Nyana and make it look like it's epic, let's do it. Sure. So it was very important for me to build it up at that age. Now that you're saying it, like it's paying off right now. Yeah. Like we're so good at it. I'm like, babe, no, we can't have this now. Like it's a little things that even now when you look back, at that time, we got lost. We were in an Uber. Yeah. Right now, even when we were buying a car, we were like,
this is us.
Babe, this is us. Also, we can't go for the expensive car. Yeah. This is not what we signed up for. We have to bear in mind that we've got other things that we need to accommodate into it. So it's I think, yo, this is so good. Yeah. Like, it reminded me on how much this is not something that started overnight, something that had to build up. Sure. And it's still even a conversation today because we're growing up as people. There's more money than ever now. Back then, there was like a little money. Now, there's more money, meaning that more discussions. Sure. I think even 2 days ago, we were having a quarrel about investing. Sure. I'm like, babe, I can't be the one investing. Yeah. And she's like, no, I will invest. I'm like, no. Yes, I'm investing for us, but you must also learn how to invest yourself. So we had to do that. And I was like, listen, get into it. So it's a conversation that I'm always like, for me, I study financial science. I think that's why God put me into that space, that I must know how to navigate that space. Because if it wasn't for that, I don't want to lie. Like it was going to be a breakup. Yeah. We wouldn't be here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's
so
great, bro.
That's where it all started. I guess.
Dope, man.
That's so cool. Damn.
And clearly by God's grace, man, it's going well, She's done with school. You guys started off, and
I'm not sure about that.
She's still
I think, sometimes, you know, when you have a husband and you influence other people into the creative space.
Yeah.
I think I influenced her more to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm like, just finish. Just
Sure.
because she's still, I think she has practicals into that. But then she got into the business mindset so fast. And
great,
she started growing. She's a private chef, or
Yeah.
she said personal chef. She said there's a private chef and there's a personal chef. She said she's a personal chef. And so she's been doing a lot of that. And she's been growing her content as well online. And then, no, think of it. I'm like, no. So we've grown into that. She didn't necessarily finish school. I'm always trying to tell her, listen, you finish. But hey.
What was she studying?
She was studying hospitality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's got
in the
everything
same-
underneath. Yeah. Still under the same field.
Yeah.
It's just that I think also her food is amazing, bro.
No, listen, when I look at you, 2016 you,
To what I am now.
her food is amazing.
You know, so her food is amazing. And remember, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was my prayer point. I'm like, I need someone who's like, and so that doesn't feel like a chore. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't cook, but she enjoys cooking. Like, it's like one of those things when you say cook. Like, sometimes there's times where she feels tired, she doesn't want to cook, and order, right? But then when she feels like cooking, like she goes all out.
Sure.
Like, you feel it, and then and then hospitality was in the same area, and then she started getting to like cater for other people as well. Like the people that she's catering for, like she's making something out of it, and it became something great there.
Still, man.
So no,
Yeah.
you know,
That's great, man.
the food is can't wait to get home.
You prayed for it. So-
Amen to that.
Bro, when you guys, or at least when you were deciding to propose,
Yeah.
you alluded to it now that you spoke to, you spoke to your parents.
Yes.
Earlier on, when you started dating, to say if we forget, remind us, which I think was a dope thing. But another thing you did was, just before you proposed, you said, "Man, I'm gonna actually speak to my friends." I was shocked at the level of openness, that you invited, the scrutiny you were fine with from your community to say, "Man, do this thing or don't do it."
Exactly.
And you were ready to be like, I'm taking in the counsel, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through that, man. Why would you even take your relationship and put it before, your community to say, guys, scrutinize this thing?
Yo, I believe one of the biggest things is that a marriage is a union, right? But not only for two people, for families and friends as well.
Sure.
People forget the friends element into it, right? They always say, no, after marriage, you forget about those things. But those things are still like a factor for me. And I'm talking about people who are very like good, but they say your network is your net worth, right? So if you've got the right people and you are actually friends, there's this friendship that I don't like when people say we are friends, but you can't be open to me. I believe in friendship that if you're going through a lot and say, yo, listen, dude, like I'm panicking or I did something wrong, you're going to come to me. I'm not going to judge. So that's the type of friendship I believe in. I believe in those type of things that if you're going through, it's down. Even if sometimes it's not something that I can help with, sometimes a prayer. Sometimes one thing about guys, we are solution-based more than anything else. So my friends are like that they're open to hear me out. And one thing for sure, for me, I'm a creative, but also at the same time, the creativity can get in the way that you create your life. Like you're so creative with it that you might be making a mistake that,
Sure.
I want to get married now. And remember also, I'm still young at that time. Like you're very young to be even thinking about marriage. Everyone is telling you, explore the world, do this, do that. I'm like, guys, I don't think you understand. Understand. And one thing about my friends, I've walked through the journey of like going through these relationships, and my friends have been saying, she's the one. And I was like, guys, as much as you're the one, I need the scrutiny that I can get from this thing to say, am I doing the right thing? What is the plan ahead, And the funny thing at that time is that financially, so I didn't have anything.
Sure.
And I was like, yo, I'm proposing. Even my parents knew. Where are you going to get the money? And I was like, listen, me, I'm a prayer warrior.
You don't know my God.
I don't know what I'm planning, but my God, I know He's got good things coming from me.
Yeah.
So and it's a little things that you remind yourself that your friends are your supporting structure. And one of the biggest thing at that time, I remember Bongani I met Bongani the previous year on Defining, and then they came through to Defining Love. And one of the biggest thing, when he was telling his story, I was like, that's so close to home.
Sure.
I was like, yo, that is like so close to home. And one of the people that I called, I'm like, bro, listen, if you ever get into this, can I call you? You know? And then when it was time to actually make a decision, I was like, listen,
Sure.
this is me, guys. Scrutinize me. Yeah. This is what I had to do. This is what I have to do. And this is the financial cost into things. It might not look realistic right now, but I know God can be like the provider.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
So, sometimes when you are within, I'm good in convincing someone. I was even quoting verses there, Baba. I was saying, Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, Hebrews, what does it say about faith? The whole Hebrews speaks on faith. Who am I not to have faith? So I'm a person who's very like open-minded but creative in terms of like making sure on believing in something. So that was why it was so important for me and my friends to say, guys, let me come to you openly and lay down my creativity, lay down myself, and not be creative and finding ways to give you everything. Ask me all the relevant questions that you think I might need. Because this is not like a decision like those that you say, oh no, I'm gonna buy a car, and then the next thing, you can buy another one. You're choosing one partner, you're done for the rest of your life. There's not gonna be anyone else. Even if you see Beyonce, Rihanna, this is it. This is you choosing to say, I'm choosing this person for the rest of my life. So I needed that support. So even with my parents, I was like, Mama, listen, this is the decision I want to make. Because even with her, I think the year before, and I remember we were walking on the street. I was like, babe, and it was, I think, our third year into the marriage, not into the marriage, into the dating. And I was like, babe, I want you to be honest with me. Do you really feel like you're ready for marriage? Do you feel like you're prepared? Sometimes you've got that thing, 3 years, 5 years, But in my mind, I knew like, oh, flip, like it's coming soon. Yeah. But mentally, was she ready for that? Because now you're moving in with someone. Sure. She was living with her mom. Her mom was sick. I'm like, now you're going to have to leave your mom who's sick. You're going to have to leave your little brother. I'm going to have to leave my mom and my little sister. Like we've got almost a little siblings are almost the same age. Sure. So we're almost the same age as well. Like it's like a 17-year gap. So our parents, they live alone. There's no father there. There's no father there. So we're in the same situation and we're choosing to say, we're going to do this. That means, we're going to have to let it go. Are we ready for that? So it became a mental thing that she was working on. Sure. And I knew that, okay, the time is approaching. And when that time came through, my friends already knew her, my family knew. So I was like, I've received all the counsel that I needed. And I was open. For sure, at the beginning, I prayed about it. We made like covenants there by the altar to say, so I needed to fulfill that.
It's great, yeah, man. Shout outs to Hungs, man. He's
thank you.
Such a legend. He's such a legend. Why 5 years?
I think 5 years, right? I back again. I'm coming from a business point of view.
Come on,
it takes 3 years. It takes 3 years.
You treated your relationship like a startup.
That's what the startup does.
Come on, now. Relationship Silicon Valley. Come on, bro.
So 5 years, we looked at ourselves and how long did it take us to change as people, right? And what happened in the last 5 years of her life? Sure. And how long does it take her to do something? And at the same time, school takes about 3 years. After 3 years, you need to find yourself 2 years. So we're like, let's give ourselves, it's like a degree, right? It doesn't mean when you've gotten a degree, you're done. That's just the beginning of it. So we needed to learn each other to the point that we are sure about it. On the third year, I was like, okay, are we still sure about this? Like there's still a space to say, you know what, God doesn't want this. And at that time, we were like, okay, 3 years. We are sure about it, but now it's time for us to build. And then the next 2 years, what we needed to do is just make sure that we know how to make marriage work. Because one thing for sure, people get excited about the wedding, not the marriage.
Not the marriage, man.
And
come on, man.
One thing I needed to get myself excited to is the marriage part. To stay with this person. I remember even like, I had so many things that we were studying, watching sermons about
Yeah.
dating, I'm watching all those things like, I'm so excited. So I needed to get myself in order as well, to say, you know what? I needed to make sure that my life is in order as
Come
well.
on, bro.
So that 5 years was perfect for us to say, we know we've made the right decision.
Mm.
It's not something that we can say, it's a spur of the moment thing.
Mm.
Because that's why people sometimes say that, oh no, you guys are still in the honeymoon phase,
Mm.
after 5 years, it's going to be over. And I'm like, guys, let's do us.
Yes.
We'll do us.
Yeah, leave us.
We know we're still young, but also at the same time, I was smart.
Yeah, sure.
I came out top 10 in Gauteng.
Yeah.
So
Come on,
like,
now.
yeah,
Flex. On period.
Period.
Come on, dog.
So yeah, that was the case.
How old were you when you guys got married?
In the marriage part, the wedding, it was in 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know how old was I. I think 26.
Yeah, so
She was 25.
That's 3 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? 24, 23, 22. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that was like the age.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's a good age.
When did you get married?
10 years ago.
What?
Yeah, so next year
Decade.
March we 11 years, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations. Love it. How has it been for you?
Thanks, man. Best thing ever, bro.
Serious.
Yeah.
Still the same.
No, it can't be.
Mm-hmm.
It changes, but I think it changed for the best.
Mm-hmm.
We're more settled. We're more settled in who we are, what God is building in us. We've come to realize that more and more.
Yeah.
So when we got married, early days, we kind of get glimpses that this is what we think God is doing by bringing both of us together. And then you kind of see it disappears. There's something called the 7-year itch. 7-year itch comes and you're like, do I still want to be here? Hey, what's going on? I just feel like I need to stretch a bit. And then you pass the 7-year itch, 10 years.
How did you guys deal with that?
Spoke, man.
We spoke.
We spoke. And I always say, till today, man, I think that's one of the biggest components of my marriage. It's conversations. Like one thing me and my wife would do is speak, man, for hours. For hours we would talk,
Yeah.
And I think every big moment in our marriage, we've kind of gone over that through conversations, because then she lets me into her head, I let her into my head, and we can then navigate stuff. Yeah, bro. I mean, last night we were Sunday. So I left, went to church, and then she was gonna come later, but then she was struggling, and send me messages. Yo, man, I'm really battling, So my wife has a history of depression, and then I was like, cool, man, coming back home. Just we didn't need to talk at that point. She just needed me to hug her, be there for her,
Yeah.
And then I then after that had to leave, go back to church, and then when I came back, she had spent time with God, man, just in prayer, and she was just buzzing.
Exactly.
So when I arrived, man, she was like, listen, I need to talk your ear off. Right? I was like, all right, let's go. So literally from late morning till like late evening. Just talking. talking. So that's been such a great and important thing for us, man. And I always say marriage lives in conversation.
Yeah.
If we're not talking, man, we might as well just be polite roommates.
Exactly.
And we're not married. We're just polite roommates who don't step on each other's toes,
I always tell my wife, and we have the chat on the 7th of every month, and we always sit down. I think that's where also like I
love this thing, the 7th thing about
Bruh.
you guys, man. You dated on the 7th of June,
and then
proposed on the 7th of June, got married the 7th of June, meet every month on the 7th. Come on, bro.
You need to have those conversations.
Come on.
And the thing is, like, sometimes that's what I'm saying. As guys, we know how to express ourselves. We don't know how to express that. And sometimes there's a lot of things that we as guys we do so wrong that they will sort of take it in and just tolerate it. Sure. And sometimes I'm like, yo, babe, I'm one person that I know I've got a lot of mistakes as a creative and adventure freak. Yeah. Sometimes I might say something bad to you without me realizing that there's was something bad, And on the 7th, I'm like, listen, whatever that I did this month, tell me so that we speak it out.
Yeah.
And I'm at that moment, I'm not allowed to defend myself.
Come on,
I'll
bro.
have to hear out because
Come on.
I'm a good person. When it comes to debate, I'll debate myself out. I'll get myself out of a situation. So, so I try. I'm like, everything, babe. Like, be open. Like,
Sure.
what is it that you're having a challenge on all forms? Don't hold back. So the 7, like, it's sort of like a leeway break of communication. Like, we force ourselves to talk.
Sure.
You know, even if something is good, say that it's good. But what exactly do we need to improve on? There's nothing that you can say. Everything is perfect.
Good.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, sure.
you have to improve because we are forever growing. If you're not improving, that means there's no growth.
There's no growth, man.
Yeah, so
Sure.
it's one of those. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, even the investment chat, it was one of those. I'm like, yeah, no, we fine. We
Sure.
haven't fought this man, Mara.
Investment.
I can't be the one investing all the time. You know, it's
Yeah,
little things. Obviously, we work together sometimes, and she's got her own things.
Sure.
And obviously, I know how much I pay her. You
Yeah.
know, from the company. But I'm like, you know, sometimes she was like, no, but you're judging me.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, baby, I know, but you spend it on Shein.
Yeah.
On Shein. On Shein.
Now she's on team.
Hey, bruh. And I'm like, so not even a single 500 rand of investment.
Sure.
So I was like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm like, but you didn't invest. You said you're on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's those little conversations that allow us to come back and say, you know, let's communicate because that's what's needed. That's what I'm saying. Like, from your experience, if you're doing that, it's so amazing. And I don't want to get to that part where, you know, you get to 7 years and then after 7 years, you ask yourself, what happened to Bongani? Like, these guys were great. And then the next thing, you know, it looks nice in public, but internally, like, there's a lot of things that you must build to do that. And that's why people forget. They want to make it look nice for the gram. And they forget that the internal, that's one thing that you need to prioritize.
Yeah. We always say, man, if you're going to hashtag love lives here, love better live there.
Exactly.
Right?
Better. Don't fake
there.
it. You know this thing, fake it till you make it. I don't like it.
Nah. No, not in marriage. Especially not in marriage.
Exactly.
Hey, sorry to interrupt your viewing. We'll shortly get back to that episode. If you're regular, you know what we use this segment for, and that's to preview episodes that are coming out next week. But something has happened on the Dream Space. We have a new show called The Dopest Variety Show, and we wanted to come remind you to go check that out. And that's why I have my lovely dark skin.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. We always go there. We always...
Mother of my child.
Oh, gosh.
Baby mother.
Okay.
Who's my wife.
Let me just do what I came to do.
Really?
Guys, please do check out The Dopest Variety Show. It's like if a show was eating scopas.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That's what it
is. It's just as nice, guys. Check it out. There is a link in the comment section, in the description box, and it's also our previous video. You know what I mean? So you can actually just click it and open a new tab, ne? And then come back.
In fact, do that. Open a new tab now. After this episode, go watch The Dopest Variety. Guys, thank you to everybody who's liked The Dopest Varieties, commented. Man, we are appreciating the comments and engaging with those. And they're encouraging us and giving us more insights on how we should make that show better, right? So please go check that out.
Check it out.
It would be dope. And lastly, before we leave.
Yes.
We have started a mailing list, so please do sign up for that if you want to be updated on everything that we're doing on this channel and all the other things that are dope that are going to come out.
Because so much is coming out,
so
guys.
much.
A lot. It's going to be so nice.
So let's have a conversation that side, be a community, because sometimes it's hard for us to connect and chat directly here on these platforms. So join our mailing list. The link will also be at the bottom. Don't forget, we're going to remind you, join the mailing list. Join the mailing list.
Can I say back to that episode?
What do you say? Say it.
Hey, my name is Black Newborn. Back to the episode.
Wow.
Sorry. Cool.
People forget. They want to make it look nice for the gram. And they forget that the internal, that's one thing that you need to prioritize.
Yeah. We always say, man, if you're going to hashtag love lives here, love better live there.
Exactly.
Right?
Better. Don't fake it. You know this thing, fake
man.
it till you make it. I don't like it.
Nah. No, not in marriage. Especially not in marriage.
Exactly.
Bro. Man, I'm inspired by how you seem very self-aware, sober-minded, you know, visionary, you plan. Yeah, man, it's just like getting into situations and being very analytical about those situations is such a rare gift. And for a dude as young as you are, you know, you're very wise in terms of your experience.
Thank you.
You know, which is really inspiring, man. Which takes me back to a moment again when you were getting married. I don't know who told you that you need to look at your past, and then you then kind of, you know, doubled down on that and said, well, I need to. What that means is not looking at my past in terms of my body count or anything like that,
Yes.
but I actually need to go speak to my dad
Yeah.
and fix stuff there, right? I'm like, man,
Hey.
how do you? What was that conversation about? For somebody who's young, who's getting mad, why would you even think? Let me go speak to my dad. You know, and now, let me bare my heart and share a bit of my story as well. So similar thing. My parents separated when I was 15, divorced when I was 19, officially, and then my dad was not in my life. When I got married, I was like, yo, man, let me, you know, do what the Bible says I must do. Honor. Let me go and honor, right? And honor in that instance for me was tell the man, and invite him to the wedding, you know, and then we'll see how far he wants to get involved, etc., you know. And then we went, big fight. He never came to the wedding. I haven't spoken to him since, right? I spoke to him the last time probably 4 years into my marriage, 5 years into my marriage, and that's because my daughter was coming, and then had another blowout. Haven't spoken to him since, you know. So, what was happening with you, man? Why did you need to go speak to the old man?
I need to start a segment. I'm gonna create a channel separately and call it defining fathers, defining fathers, because that's a chat that's always picking out. So what was happening at that time is that you know, sometimes as a person, when you so used to growing up without a father, that you start to realize that no, man, like I don't need a father. And until it comes to the wedding stuff, and you start to realize how many male figures do I have in my life to say, okay, these people can represent me and all those things. So when I think it was Bongani who said that statement, like, yo, no, man, go back to your past. And when I was looking back at the old things, I'm like, yo, I'm dragging this girl, because now my mom was in a marriage with my stepdad, and he had a different surname. I didn't take in that surname. There were so many delays into that. And now my mom got married and changed the surname to my stepfather. My biological father has a different surname. I've got a different surname. So now I was like, yo, guys, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. But you know what? God said you will turn that mess into a message. Come on. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure. And I needed to find my way into it, to be confident in it. You know, it's so nice. Like my wife loves traditional stuff, like, you know, traditional wedding and all that. Like she respects those things. She respects her parents. So she's coming from a Tswana culture. They want to do the Tswana way. And now I have to pick on what dimension am I going in. Because this one is Ndebele, and then Salmain is Tsonga, and there was a lot of dynamics into it. So I needed to resolve that before I bring this girl into this marriage, because now you're not only taking in just us. That's why I keep on saying it's like there's so many things that you take into this thing. So I'm committing into this thing like both ways. Like there's no way of saying that there's a gap here and there. So I decided to go in deep and look into that, and then confront. Obviously, you know, and those confrontations never go right. They never come to the wedding. And then there's allegations that you did this and that. You know.
So your pops never came as well?
No.
I know why.
Why?
It's the God conversation.
Esh, bro.
Yeah?
Esh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So, and on all those things, I was like, you know what? It's okay for me. And even I remember, you know, some of the challenges that you're going through, you just have to remind yourself, like, God, you're my father. And please provide people around me to help me through those things. You know, how when they tell you that go find a goat, go find this, and like, shouldn't be my uncles be doing those things. You know, shouldn't be my father doing most of the things. But then I was like, I've got a community around me that can help me through this.
It's great, bro.
Family doesn't mean it has to be blood only, you know. So people put like God put people around me so I can look forward to that. So I looked into that. I was like, God, thank you for these people around me. And that chat afterwards, I was like, babe, this is my life. This is how I'm coming in. I've got such a messed up history of surnames, but this is a surname at the end I decided to choose.
Sure.
This is how we concluded as our family to say, you know what, Baloyi is the surname I'm going to start a new generation with. I'm going to start a new everything, whatever that we do, let's carry it over with. Whatever that happens around that, it doesn't matter. And this is how we're going into it.
Sure.
And then she was like, I'm okay with it. Let's go. Let's run with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, because now it was going to be a mess.
Sure.
Oh, imagine you have to get married. Now you have to change surname.
Your wife also has to change surnames.
Yeah. So we're like, we needed to sort that out. So those are the things that I had to think about. Okay. And as a guy, it gets depressing because now you're not so used to speaking about those things. Like you literally like have to sort it out with family. You can't say, babe, this is what's going on. Family has to come in as well and say, guys, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What's my life? Like I need to find ways on how do I package myself as a man and say I'm going to marry another woman and bring a union into these two families so that we don't have disputes. So that chat happened and it became what it is now.
When last did you speak to the old man?
There was a day where he called. I don't know what was going on. He called with the private number. And he called.
I'm laughing because I'm like, this sounds dodgy.
He called with the private number and he was like,
Sure.
no, you need to come and apologize to me.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I was like, no, you got married without my approval.
Sure.
And I was like,
I came and I saw you.
So, do you want us to meet face to face? Because this is not the chat I'm willing to have over the call.
Over the phone, man, yeah.
No, I can't meet, your mom will go to the cops and I'm like, bruh, I'm telling you, let's meet up and let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
Why are you calling with the private number? Call me with the normal line. And then ever since, but I've had rumors from my mom.
Sure.
Some, there's relatives that, know someone there. So it's always a situation where he's afraid to call.
Yeah.
Or if he's watching, call me.
Come on.
I'm willing to sit down for coffee.
Come on.
And chat about it. I'm grown enough now to understand that not to let anger come to me right now. Yeah, and I'll tell you about God.
Yeah. That's great.
That's one thing for sure.
That's great, bro.
Yeah.
Sure. Man, thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that, bro. Thanks for sharing that, and I know the more I sit down with husbands, and the more we unearth what it means to be a husband, the conversation of fatherhood always comes up, bro. Because even as husbands, we need fathers speaking into our lives to help us navigate what it means and looks like, to be a husband. But you guys, and by you guys I mean you and the squad, decided to define what love is, define what a lot of other things are. So here's my first thoughts.
Let's hear it.
Or question. Where's your episode?
It was there at the beginning.
Where?
You were the first one. 2 seconds.
Where's your episode? And then secondly, what would you define as love, man?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm still defining love.
Because you missed the defining.
So let me tell you, right? My episode one day, I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, I think when defining was everything. Like the moment you speak about it, like everything comes into it. Because I got more courage to get married because of it. The reason why defining was so cool for me is because I was getting to learn about other love stories with people. Like you're picking up this and that, you're picking up lessons from everyone who was coming through with defining. So for me, to forever say, let me do my own defining love. I can't get myself to do that because I'm forever learning from these episodes. So, sometimes like you forever say, like, I don't want to sit down and say, this is my love story and do that. Because I feel like I'm still learning so much, until the day, I don't know what will happen where I actually define that.
Yeah.
But then I think,
maybe today is the day.
man, you can't. You can't love. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to define love. But I think defining love is like a journey, just walking through life with someone who loves you, is able to see your weaknesses and turn them into strong points. Love is just living with someone who's okay with being with you in silence. Love is one of those things where you can literally choose to love someone, looking at them, and you still feel like they're still the same day. When the first time I saw you, I still feel like I love you. There's those days where obviously you feel down, but when you actually take some time to look at the person, you're like, I know why I chose you. That's love for me. It's those moments where you feel like, you know what, I don't have much to give to a person, and that person literally gives you everything that you might need in terms of support. They give you all the warm hugs when you literally, like, you don't need to explain a lot. There's situations where reason why love, like you love someone for such a long time, is because you keep on growing with one another to a point that you don't need to explain yourself in situations when this person is down and what they need at what time and how to make it. That's love for me, coming through to a party, to a party that's like a 2-person party. You can party all night. Just the two of you have conversations, laugh, cry, and have all these heartful moments, So it's just doing life, man. You can never define love to its fullest, man. You have to look at the reason why you would say you defining love. Look at a person's story and see the journey that arises from there, and then you see that's love. It can never be a thing of it's like describable, and that's what caused defining love, to say, guys, what is this thing? Because you can try and define it, but you'll never find the right way to express it. But when you see it in someone, you can tell that that's man. Love. You understand? So that's love.
That's great.
You just have to look at me and my wife and say, that's love.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You kind of alluded to it now, where you spoke about somebody who takes your weaknesses and makes them strong points. In fact, in your proposal video,
I think I put you in research. I respect you for that.
you spoke about how your wife is strong in all the areas that you weak in, and you strong in all the areas that she's weak in, right? And how you guys then find each other there.
Yeah.
I'm probably putting you on the spot here, right?
It's okay.
but maybe 5 areas where there's been this perfect, imperfect blend of caring each other when the other was weak. Where one kind of pulled the other. How it's played out, man. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest one that I'll forever remember, right, is when I tried going back to school in UJ for I think for 3 months. And I was traveling by train. And like it became a tricky situation when I was studying there, because now I was so used to UP being closed, now UJ. And it became a moment where I was like, I'm struggling now financially, so like everything is just down. And there was moments where I was sleeping at the library, asking some friends who I knew in New Jersey to say, yo, can I crash at your place for one day? Because nothing was pulling through the bursary and all those things. However, I still had work as well. My company, we had a small office in Mabopane that we were still like, building. So there came a point where I was like, I'm drained. You travel to school. I remember I even missed a test at some point. You travel in the morning with the train, coming from Soshanguve at around about 6 a.m. I got to Joburg at 6 p.m. My test was starting at 5. So meaning that if you are 1 hour late or
Yes.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
shy, you
Oh,
can't
you're
go
done.
into the exam. So
Sure.
now I got to school and then I called them like, yo, babe, I missed the exam because of the
Oh.
train. There was a lot of delays,
Oh.
and all that. And then she gave me all the encouragement that I needed. And that's when I
Sure.
was like, yeah,
This one.
that's why. That's why she pulled me up. And then I think the second one, where there was a point where, yo, I chose, we were not yet married,
Yeah.
right? We were in the process of like, our parents were there. And, sometimes coming from a church background and staying with your girlfriend was some type of way. But then she was at school, right? And her mom got burned and she had to be rushed to the hospital. She's got a little brother.
Sure.
And they had no solution on what's going to happen to the little brother because she can't say, I'm going to go back home where else there's like, it was exam season. And the mother was in the hospital. I was like, you know what, guys? I know that there's like so many things that we need to sort out formally as a family, but can I go and stay with this little boy? And let me like take care of him because I think it was like 2 months.
Sure.
And then that 2 months was the best time of my life. And I think I pulled through for her. And then at that time, it was
Sure,
like
man.
just assuring me that I'm actually going into this to unite families.
So you moved in with them to help out?
Yes, I moved them.
Sure.
Yeah. So the mother was in hospital. So there was no
Yeah.
one in the house. The
Sure.
little boy was alone.
Oh, so you moved in with her little brother?
Yes.
Wow, bro.
And I had to take care of him. It was
Yeah.
nice things because I don't cook, I had to cook, and because it was a little boy, it was nice. Buy meat, we go buy sometimes. When we cook, we all cook together.
Yeah.
So it was like quite a nice journey for me. And I think it's still one of the coolest moments
man.
ever.
Sure.
And the third one, let's see. Ooh.
Sure.
The third one, what would be the third one? Let me go from her side this time.
Yeah.
Where I came through for her. I think pretty much something sort of recent as well. And my wife is a very helpful person, right?
Yeah.
And she's got this tendency of like being helpful all the time, but she never takes time to like just to like say thank you to myself for what I'm doing. And when we decided to go to Thailand, obviously we're going for the proposal, but I was like, you deserve a break. You've been working hard so much, but you never have time for yourself. Like you've always wanted, I think even traveling internationally. So that was the first like international travel. She's always wanted to travel. She was the first one to have a passport. I was like, girl, before I even met her, she already had a passport. She knew what she wanted with her life.
Sure.
But then also it was like, it didn't seem like a possibility to her. And I was like, let me pull through for you and do that. And another moment from that, sorry, I know it might sound more materialistic now, but on my 21st birthday, I've never had someone celebrate me ever.
Sure.
So on my birthday, it was always me and birthdays. I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm not used to being celebrated. Yeah. So from my 21st, and this is in 2016, when she invited my friends, and then she did a surprise birthday for me. I'm like, girl, you broke. Where you getting all this money to do this? So for me, that was like also a cool moment when that like just assured me that she's not the type of person to be more materialistic, but she listens and she sees exactly what your heart longs for. And that's when I saw that the reason why I don't love birthdays because no one actually celebrates you as a person. So she was like, I want to celebrate you with the little that I have. I will forever celebrate your birthday. Ever since my birthday, it's always surprises and surprises. So and for me, it's like I never got to explore that part. So when she pulled through, I was like, listen.
Thank you.
And then the last one, this is the last one.
No, you're doing well, bro.
I'm trying. And then the last one I think was when there was a point where I lost cameras. Like I think they stole a camera. I was still shooting weddings at that time. And there was a camera bag. Some guy in Headful, we were shooting a show in Headful, restaurant tours.
Yeah.
And then some guy literally stole the bag with the camera and I lost everything. And
it's crazy, bro.
And now remember it's a wedding. Bro, if someone loses your wedding stuff,
That's
something
it, bro.
else. Yeah.
Can't do this thing again. It's not a movie. Hey guys, we lost footage. Cast come back to set.
Sheesh. So I literally like thought the worst out of the situation. And then she was like, babe, the first thing that you have to do is just notify them, acknowledge that you were wrong, but also at the same time, like present the situation now.
Yeah.
Don't wait till the last minute. And
Yeah.
as a creative person, I always say I'll find my way to get myself out of a situation.
Yeah.
I would have maybe chose the wrong pathway to do it. That's the first time I actually like had to say, okay, babe, I have to acknowledge that I'm wrong.
Sure.
Because now to acknowledge that you're wrong, meaning that you might have to refund them.
Yeah.
You might have to do this and this and that.
Sure.
And then she was like, just speak to those people. As much as you might be wrong, you owe them that much to say, guys, let's meet up. Let me tell you what's going on. What happened. And you're not lying. To lie, you're going to make things worse. So for me, that's when I learned that, sometimes I have to be honest.
Sure.
Because I was like literally getting so creative with lies. I was like, hey, wedding pictures gone. And we were shooting both wedding pictures and videos. And I was like, So after that, we sat down with the couple and then we offered them some stuff, obviously. But they understood. And that's when I saw, I'm like, sometimes you need to take counsel from the wife, Well, not even sometimes, like you have to take counsel from that. Like hear what the other party is there. Because if she's your helper, she might know better than you. Yeah. That's when the weaknesses coming in to say, let me make sure that your weaknesses are covered up. And I was like, for that day, I'm still friends with those couples. I still call them even today to say, guys, hey, sorry about that. But they're still cool today. And it's because of her.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. It's great, bro.
Yeah, no.
No. As we become better husbands, part of that is celebrating our wives, man.
All the time.
All the time, bro. All the time, man.
Most definitely.
So that's dope, man. It's exciting stuff. 5 things a lot of guys would crack on 2. So your wife should be proud of you, man.
But okay. Definitely. If I didn't think it, like I said, I get myself out of situations.
Come on, look at you, bro.
I overthink.
Maybe that's what attracted her to you. Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm gonna ask her when I get home.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why are you attracted to me?
Yeah. Bro, you started your business 8 years ago.
Yes.
Now you're here, you're married. Your wife has been with you the whole time.
Oh.
She's seen the worst. She's seen the wins. She's seen how God has carried you, man. How do you celebrate? How do you celebrate your wins with her? I mean, they your wins together.
Most definitely.
So maybe what was a dream when you started your business and you were like, stay with me, one day I'm gonna take you to, or what was the dream that now 3 years into your marriage you've either achieved that thing or there's a win that you've celebrated and you could say, man, thank you for holding my hand, believing, because part of why I wanted to sit with you is that we're both creatives.
Yeah.
Our worlds are, like you said, unpredictable, they're wonky. So I don't have the liberty of saying to my wife, I'm going to start off as a junior something.
Yeah.
I'm going to get promoted in
and
3 years.
Management.
And then get management. Get a CEO. I'm like, girl, I have dreams, I have plans, but I know how wonky, how gloomy and not clear this terrain is, So I'm asking you to trust me, So what are some of those things that you've celebrated with her, man, and how?
This is where I crack. So I think most of the time, I don't want to lie to you. I'm a person that, there's a great man who taught me that you've got 24 hours to celebrate. After 24 hours, move on. You've got 24 hours to cry. After 24 hours, you move on.
Sure.
So I think this is where, for me, I know, if I remember even the first time we bought a camera, we've been hiring out cameras. Our first time when we bought a camera, I think I celebrated for a short time. And she was like, you guys don't look excited. This is a new camera. We're going to start content creation properly. And I was like, yeah. So I think also
Sure.
for me, I've always been that person that I I chase a lot, and it's an adrenaline that gets me into things, and I tend to enjoy the process of the chase than actually receiving the award. And then she's the one most of the time who's reminding me, take time to enjoy this. And one thing for sure, it's always also like the time that I take and sit down with God to say, God, I don't think I recognize the stuff that you've done for me. Like I think even like the smallest things, like materialistic things, I tend not to celebrate them more. Because sometimes it's materialistic. I'm like, it might be gone the next day. But I don't get to recognize that God has actually like given me. Because you pray for something. I remember even a year ago, I was on car sponsorship for the longest time. Didn't have my own car. When I looked at cars, there was a car that I saw. And then 6 months later, I was like, I think finances are saying we're ready to buy a car.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, I wanted a bigger car. Now you want this bigger car. You didn't recognize that you actually reached the journey that you were praying for. That car that you looked at and you were like, this is the type of car I want. It's exactly like that. Yeah. So now why are you not getting that car? Yeah. So it's those things that sometimes I get driven to chase more, and she was always the one reminding me that, babe, celebrate this, celebrate that, so we always try. And for me, my first prayer whenever I get something is always like, God, I thank you for this, because you see the journey from where you're coming from. Bro, I've been on trains.
Bro,
I've been arrested on a train before.
You didn't buy a ticket.
Bro, no, I did. But hey, my adventure freak, sometimes you go in the middle, you want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I'm not afraid of anything.
Sure.
So if I feel like I want to walk through, because sometimes you see people passing through the train, I'm like, but what's in the middle? What's making this train tie together?
Yeah.
I literally went, and then I was like, what's going on? I was standing there. And then while I was looking, I looked up. The most beautiful view ever. Titanic?
Yes.
But in the train, I was like, whoa. So I was there. So in my moment,
Ugondo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugondo. Yeah. I'm like, it's in there. We are a man. Yeah. They took me to the front of the train. I
used to take the train when I was in primary school.
In primary?
Yeah.
How did you survive that?
It was fine. It was a bunch of us.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of us. So
when the train is full.
Yeah. So I'm from Tembisa, and then a lot of us went to school in Kempton. So
know that route.
Yeah, so there were a couple of schools, man. So Van Riebeeck Primary, Norcom Primary.
I know that gang. That climbs up on that thing.
Yeah, that's
and
us.
Then you go
that's
there
us.
and then
that's us, bro. And then there were a couple of high schools as well. So the train school culture was like a normal thing for us,
Did you do that?
Sparapar. Yeah, sure. Life.
I know.
Life.
You've been through the most. I
know. So funny enough, we're in September. So it's summertime, first of September. So we know people are gonna be
waiting.
Yeah, and splashing us with water. So go home after school. I get off the train. As I'm walking to get off the train station, I just feel liquid, So when I smell the thing, it's pee, bro. Not even water. So now I'm pissed, bro. Right?
For real.
For real, now.
Literally.
Like proper. Right? So I run after the train to try and get on and catch these guys.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't even see who it was, but just again,
the thought.
My flights or fights. I'm fighting. Let's go. Right. So then I'm running, but now the train is obviously gaining momentum. So now it's moving faster and faster. So out of frustration, I hit the train. Right? And then it leaves the station.
Yeah.
So then I slow down, turn around, go, bafika bokondo dog. Yes. When ushayana nama train. Ay mina bangithele ngomchamo asibonanga nix bone wena ushaye train.
And that's how they are.
Bro, they took me up to the office, and when we got there, they're like, so it's, do you want us to smack you in the bum or hand? So I was like, hand. They're like, you're a schoolboy. You're not going to write for 2 weeks if we hit you. I'm like, are you guys planning on destroying my life? Right? So then they're like, turn around. They gave me probably 3 shots, bro. You hot. Adrenaline is there. It's rushing through your body, so you don't feel the pain. You can. It's stinging, but not as much. I now have to take a 15-20 minute walk back home. I'm fine. So as I'm walking, I could start feeling the pain, bro. When I got home, I couldn't sit, bro. Couldn't sit.
What did your parents say?
I told them what happened because we were always open. But
they knew.
Yeah, but the thing is, I had a history of being a naughty kid. So as much as I was honest, and I told them what, they were like,
they didn't believe you.
The spice, So that was tough, bro. So I get PTSD when you I get re-traumatized when you speak about trains, bro.
Trains, you've been through it a lot. Like with trains, I remember, Mina. You know what was my way out?
Yeah.
I cried.
That day.
Yeah. So I was in the front and this lady was driving and she was pregnant,
Sheesh.
And then she was like, so, and it was a Friday.
Yeah.
And remember, if you get arrested on a Friday,
they
come out Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, manje, so what's going to be your plan? And my baby is hungry. She needs KFC.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so how much do you want?
Yeah.
And then she was like, Pinda futhi. I'm like, no, ufuna malini. I'm literally a high school kid. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, so you want to bribe me? On top of you getting arrested. You're getting arrested for 2 things. And I was like, bruh, I cried to a point that I was irritating to the driver. She was like, and no way. Puma. I got to back station there and then they gave me a warning.
Sure.
So I never actually went to the prison. I was like, thank God.
Sure.
They're not allowed to though. I was still under 18.
Yeah, they couldn't.
But you don't know those things back then.
No.
Prison.
So how does it feel now celebrating with your wife in the car?
Yo, Baba.
Do you drive past train stations and you're like,
all that
baby, we made it?
I'm like, I don't know. Even the kilos, bruh. I think I'm so crazy. Sometimes when you've been longing for something, I use the train for a lot of things, like literally like for leisure more than anything. And literally I would travel to Joburg for fun, just to get to an adventure park of some form of an activity. So I was always an adventure person. So now seeing it with the car, I'm like, babe, where are we traveling to next? Let's go. Right now we don't have problems of train, waking up in the morning and all that. I can literally now, when I get home, I'm like, babe, I've sorted my clients. Let's go. So it's one of those things that it's such a blessing. I don't want to lie to you. Like every single time I think about it, and I'm like, babe, we've come so far. And like you reminding me of those days where we actually like amount of time we struggle with things. Like even when the time we were using Uber, it was not a thing. There was points where I think we traveled to Durban with the bus. And then we were still young. Sorry, we were still young. And then we were like, hey, babe, I've never been to Durban. And I found a room there. The room was like, I think 500 Rand a night. And then we were booked for 2 nights. It includes breakfast at 500. And then bus was like 2 something. Yeah, and I was like, babe, we can make a travel plan by 1,000 Rand. 1,000 is nothing. We can save up for 3 months. 1,000. 3 months save up. We saved up for it.
Come on.
And then we went there. So it's those little adventure moments that we've been building up to that it's a process of now achieving those things when you see them. And that's what I'm saying for me, it's adrenaline trying to get to it. The fact that you're trying to say, like now, we want to travel into multiple countries at the same time. So the adrenaline to try and see how is that even possible? The scary part, like even now, we were supposed to go to Mozambique. But I'm like, I'm so afraid of traveling with my own car to Mozambique. I don't know how that looks like.
That's chilled, bro.
Yeah,
That's chilled.
I don't know that. So I'm
Yeah,
scared because
yeah,
GP never played in Mozambique, you know? So it's always like, how do you navigate that? But that's why I'm saying that for me, it's a fun part when you get to that. When you actually get to do it, she reminds me of saying, you know what? This is it. You've done it. She's always that reminder to say, babe, celebrate this. Because me, I'm all the time. I'm always chasing adrenaline.
Let's build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's always that one person. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to pulling that weakness out of me to say celebrate and actually thank God that we're here. Because I would go on and move. And it's who I am. Like I'm an action person. I want to get things done. I want to see progress. I want to see the growth. Like even with my friends, they know. And that's one of the biggest reasons. Sometimes if my friends would to say, what is the reason that I made them cry? Probably it's gonna be me forcing them to become better people. I'm one person, like I'll make you sit down. I'm like, what's your plan with your life? What are you doing now? You said you're gonna be doing this and you're not doing it. What's wrong? Like tackle those things. So I'm one person that I know that I'm always pushing other people because also at the same time I know that's what I do to myself as well. I don't want to get to the top and then there's only me.
Man.
I want to get to the top when everyone is there.
Come on, bro. Don't forget me.
I want.
Bro,
you're there already.
Yeah.
Look at this. You're there already. So
appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for pulling through, man. This was great, bro. And hopefully this is not gonna be the last time. You know?
Yes, please.
Please
do invite me again.
No, definitely. Now,
this was nice.
Now when you own the train,
you know what happened. No, thank you for that.
But I can't let you off the hook, Mr. Quickfire himself. Let's try and put you through the same agony you put your guests through, right?
Bring it on.
If you would define marriage in one word, what would it be?
Growth.
How many kids do you want to have?
That's not fair. If I can have twins, one pair.
Okay. If you look back, what was the one regret in your business?
Not separating myself from the business, making myself the business.
That's a whole episode.
Most definitely.
If there's a struggling husband who's watching this, what would be your encouragement to him?
I think first thing, get down on the knees and pray. And secondly, reach out to the people close to you. Or me. My DMs are always open when it comes to such things. I can never say no to a struggling husband. I'll literally drive to wherever you are in the world. Even if I have to catch a flight, I'm one person who's very like in a point where I want people to be able to open up. If you've got the courage to open up, listen, I'm there.
Stop.
Yeah.
What would you say to a husband who's killing it?
I would say be careful of your growth and don't leave your wife behind. So many people make the mistake of growing alone and not growing with their wife. Make sure that you are parallel with the growth of your wife.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Dope. Lastly, what would you say to South Africa about marriage?
I would say marriage is not what it is back then. I think we've got a new narrative into marriage.
Come on.
Marriage is like completely different from what we've been taught. It's not the same as it used to be back then. I think from us as a new generation of husband, we are making it quite different and we are making it feel like it's actually attainable. And it's not a force. It's not work. It's actually something that's fun. Better than what people describe to us. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, without taking more of your time, Mr. I Dream in the Night. And what happens in the day?
Dream by night, I'm achiever by day.
Achiever by day. Bongani, ladies
Thank you
and
so much.
gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Appreciate
This was
it.
nice. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I hope you get more subscribers. You know? And I really hope they click on that link.
You guys have heard.
And that booking.
You guys have heard.
Better.
Q email address.
Q email address.
No, appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so
man.
much. This was so nice.
You know this, bro.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Woo, we did it! It happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This has been great. Hopefully you were encouraged by this. Don't forget to leave your comments. Subscribe if you haven't. We drop every Wednesday at 11:30. Hit the notification bell. The energy in the room today was high. And so I pray that it translated through the screens and that it rubs off into your marriage, into your husbandhood, and your journey. So, man, let's keep on becoming better husbands by knowing better so that we can do better. All right, Black Newborn, That Husband Podcast. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
Did you see that? Bro, Baba. Even sending out, Baba.
I was convinced. If I go live in America, Afro, instantly.
Listen.
Cause why? American weather. American air.
I remember
Makes black hair.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts is called The Bright Continent, because Africa has always been known as the dark continent. And just that slight change in wording makes you see it in a completely different way. And that's what I hope my work does.
Remember Supras? Sneakers so big they didn't fit in the box they came in. We come from far, and that's an era many would like to forget. But the internet will never allow you to do that.
Give me my American boy.
Hola, sweetie.
Hello?
Let's keep her.
You're not an American boy.